Let's go. Welcome to the Scott Outpost Investigators Podcast. I'm your host, Softy Mage, and we got a special episode for you all. And today we also have all of our co-hosts here today. Co-host Savadra.
Hello, gamers.
Co-host Thirsty Blood.
Greetings, everyone.
And co-host Chap from Canada.
Dudes.
So today we're going to do a special tier list of the Deadly Assault bosses. All of them, we're going to rank them from our favorite to our most hated bosses. And we'll see how you guys will rate or how you guys like our responses. And you can comment below on whether we are right or wrong. So let's start. I'm going to actually start with Bringer. I know the order's not correct here down below. But what is your guys' thoughts on Bringer?
Well, I guess I can go first, but just as a kind of brief overview, Bringer was the boss introduced in 1.4 alongside Miyabi, and from then on he's been kind of typecast by a good majority of the people as the Miyabi boss TM. I think he's more of just a general anomaly boss than a Miyabi boss, but he is the only enemy in the game, the entire game actually, with with enhanced freeze, weakness, where his freeze anomalies last longer than every other enemy in the game. So Miyabi is very good on him, but you can generally use anomaly on him as a whole. He's got pretty good stage mechanics for anomaly as a whole, and also just not too bad of a fight for non-anomaly, to be honest, in my opinion. I do like him a lot. I like his mechanics.
I think it kind of depends. He's not super bad if you have a nice DPS, but it starts getting rougher if you start doing neutral stuff, and the buff isn't. I've
been doing a bunch of benchmarking stuff this cycle to basically see if that was actually the case, and most of my DPSs that weren't anomalies are able to get at least 2 stars, mostly floating in the range of 17 to 20k, but it does have some pretty tough matchups. I've gotten three of my 9 teams have only gotten 1 star against him. So yeah, maybe for non-ice DPSs, it's a little rough.
I would say he's physical resistant, right?
Oh yeah, yes, that too.
Right. Yeah, so that makes anomaly chain Piper also a little bit more complicated if you don't have better buffers Yuzuha or so.
Alice can kind of brute force her way sometimes, depending on the buff, but the reduction in anomaly gain, you usually run Alice with Yuzu if you have her, but it kind of forces you to run Yuzu if you're forced to use Alice on Bringer. So it's kind of
So the idea of Bringer, in my case, I have fought against him with Anomaly and also with regular DPSs. I haven't done my Yetari run with Rupture yet. I mean, Yetari would be probably a bad comparison, so I will definitely do a Monada run. Gameplay-wise, he's kind of fine. The thing is, he has quite some RNG cases with his arm, and it's really hard to... he's one of those bosses where it is hard to get the 5,000 points for the extra points because of the RNG factor. With Miyabi, he's definitely a Miyabi shield boss. This is truly a thing that exists. I have played against him with Corin, Trigger, and Nicole, and got 20k. I even challenged Cornzone at that time, and he was actually surprised also that he got the 20k as well. I think he was at 23 while I was at 21. So it is possible, but for people who are not high invested or are trying the game a little bit more, I would understand the argument that they see him only as a Miyabi check boss and can only score high and I talk more about like plus 20k, like 30k plus, with that said team. He's a little bit annoying with Hugo to play. That's also something some people complained about. So yeah, I would say personally that I like him because of the fact I can play him with various teams.
I want to say that I didn't know about the freeze enhancement, though, so I thank you, Savadra, for pointing that out, because I did see a run of a kill on the boss with M0 characters, M0 Miyabi and M6 Sokaku and M0 Yuzuha. So that was pretty cool to see all the freezes and proccing it to make sure he actually doesn't do his hand part of the stage. But the hand is gotten a lot harder, at least this time around, than it was prior. I did do Yidhari against the hand, and it still cleared and still got it. But the hand did get a little bit harder. I also want to say that when I was doing the anomaly, so Miyabi against Bringer, I did it a couple times. The hand only showed up once, whereas when I did Yidhari, it actually showed up twice. And to get the most points, you can only get up to 40,000 or 4,000 because each hand gives 2,000, and you're really only going to hit two hands in a fight unless somebody is very unlucky and gets a third. But I don't think that's the case for anybody.
Yeah, it's like the spawning times for bringer hands have been very inconsistent historically, and it is like an actual RNG nightmare for score chasers to go for third hand for the 5,000 performance points because he just never does it.
Well, especially if you are running a Miyabi Sokaku X team, because
Mono Eyes has no chance. Yeah, you can be lucky to get one hand.
Yeah, just the amount. Like, I was gonna lead on to that. One thing that makes him better is that if you do have Miyabi, like we've talked about how he's the Miyabi check, right? But if you do have her, easy dub, easy clear. Like, you could almost solo him with just her. It's kind of absurd how much he just falls to that character.
Yeah.
Even
He's
now,
very weak against a Miyabi. If you know how to play her right.
The only time that might not be the best is if you're forced to have like maybe if you have Butcher or something as well as Bringer, because that can kind of be nasty. But like he's one of those bosses that if you do have Miyabi, you just kind of get a freebie pass on him.
Yeah, surely.
So how do you want to rate
how would
this
you
boss?
rank him?
Should we do it as that we all sort of like the boss, or is he okay to fight? I think we all like agree that he's not our favorite boss to fight, but everybody's like,
Yeah, I'm in the like tier for him, to be honest.
I'm also on the like tier. Yeah,
I'm probably in the like tier. I think when comparing him to contemporaries, I think I like him more than I would like hate him, especially compared to some of the other guys on here, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
I mean, you can say also it's okay, so we have an in between also.
Well,
I think like is probably fine.
Like is our in between, because like I said, favorite is everybody likes it. Blue or okay is everybody's meh about it, and then that like is our in between.
Okay, nice.
So we did a poll in the Battle Hub Discord server for what people liked or people thought of each boss, and Bringer was one that everybody said it was okay to face against, but the only question that this was different than all the other bosses was the type and element advantages and resistance affect your answer. This boss was the only one that had the most type advantage, as in like why people do not like this boss. So, or had them think about why they chose this boss as they chose. So that was the interesting answer. I agree with the reasoning why, because it is a Miyabi check, but it's still interesting that that was the case for this boss. Do you guys have any thoughts on this, on these graphs right here for the Battle Hub Discord server and people who answered?
I find it very funny that it's near a 50-50 split between okay and like and hate. You either think he's just fine, or you really like him, or you're like, I don't know. It's like the perfect bell curve.
It's quite interesting to see like the stuff with the type advantage element. I really wonder which elements they would have preferred or disliked more in that comparison. But funny enough, I don't know. I think it was in this survey or somewhere else on a poll. But I read something that most people's accounts was built on physical element, which would make sense why so many people actually answered this question with this on Bringer, because he's physical resistant. So, yeah. This is my only explanation of logic I would have right now. I think it is in this survey. Yeah, I think it is in this one.
Yeah, and like this wasn't the biggest survey that we could do. We only had 33 responses, and I think one of those they just didn't respond. Oh, we had 34.
It's a small bubble, but hey, we have some answers, and it gives a, let's say, okay overview. Like
at least in our small community.
True. Maybe more people in the comment section can give their votes also. I mean, it would be interesting to see.
If you want to add your votes to the responses, I did leave the survey still open. It is still as a live post that I did on this channel. So if you guys want to go through the posts and look at that and sort of give your rating, we might bring this up in the next podcast, or we might share the results some way, somehow.
Let's go.
My interesting observation about this thing is like more of what Thirsty Blood said, and like the type advantage, like heavily skewing the answers, but I would have thought it was in the opposite direction of like most people's accounts not being specifically on physical, but more on ice, because the matchup that is present here, like Miyabi, ice agent, and being one of the strongest agents in the game, it's kind of interesting to like see that we don't really have a lot of ice agents in the game. Like there's only really Miyabi, Ellen, Hugo, Idhari for DPSs, and then the stunner and a support, and that's it. So like your element coverage just from having Miyabi is like she's kind of carrying the weight of the world, and I don't imagine, like, even of the people who responded on this survey, I don't imagine a lot of people like have specifically tried Bringer with non-Miyabi teams outright, but I'd be very interested to be proven wrong in that regard.
I think this may be a flaw. We might have wanted to split type advantage and elemental weakness into its own question, but maybe for a future one we can correct that mistake.
And like if it were me answering, I would still put Bringer in, like, even though I like have played Bringer with I've played with pretty much everyone you can think of on the board. I do specifically that. I play with the roster just as a whole as much as I can for the sake of experimentation and stuff. So like I'm just curious about the difference in mindset in that regard, if people were to like, or if that is present, if people are playing it like either into resistance on purpose or otherwise just trying non-anomaly teams to get through it, like if it's still the case that they would like it or not.
It's a curious bias that formed, and it's also interesting that again it's kind of the big one. Like, we'll get to it later, but the rest of the bosses don't have as much bias as Bringer does, which says something, but not exactly sure what it is. The common sentiment is that it's a Miyabi check, and I think that's fair.
Right.
All right. So back to the tier list. We're going to go to Butcher because that was the next question that I had in my survey. What do you guys think on Butcher?
Honestly, he is definitely also in my like sector, simply because I have played him with plenty of teams. Even with Piper, I've used Koren, Piper team setups. I have used, I think, also Harumasa at one time. I did use also Hugo, and this is why I actually, if I would compare him to Bringer, I would even say I like Butcher a little bit more, simply because you can go against this guy with Hugo, Lycan, and Pulchra, and it is actually so fun to play against him with that team specifically, that, yeah, I think he's cool, and there's definitely more options with crit DPS as you can play with him. So yeah, overall, I would immediately put him into the like sector, and he's okay. The only thing that is a little bit rough is also to get max points with him, because was he the one with the dodges or with the parries? I think he's the one with the dodges.
He was originally dodges. Now he's anomaly based.
Yeah, it was originally like dodge counters, and like it went back and forth between dodge counters and disorders for his performance points.
My opinion, but
I think it affects my opinion a lot, actually.
That is
I had a lot of like interesting thought. I had a conversation in the Battle Hub about like this list the other day because it got people thinking, and someone would just kind of threw the question out there: which one is your most hated boss in the rotation, like in the pool? And I had to think about it, because like I do generally like the mechanics of most of these bosses as a whole, and like my experience in fighting them with diversity in mind, it has been mostly positive for everyone, honestly, except for Butcher. And I think Butcher was like the problem that like kind of creeped up when people were like initially talking about HP inflation for the first time. It's like the Butcher mechanics are less friendly than Bringer's mechanics for like non-anomaly teams specifically, because Butcher's mechanics give attack percent, which is a stat that every agent can use and like utilize well. But Butcher's mechanics, and specifically his performance points conditions after like they started flip-flopping between dodges to disorders and then sticking with disorders after a certain time, really made it difficult to like watch and play with non-anomaly teams, because it was only rewarding anomaly damage. He also had like lower days and like less raw damage taken, and just being tanky. It was like just kind of the Miyabi punching bag too, but a better Miyabi shield than Bringer was, which is interesting in my opinion. But I overall like this boss a lot less than Bringer overall. I'm not sure if I would put him in the hate category specifically, but it's like kind of the closest one there. Like I like this boss the least of the list in my opinion.
I kind of agree with Sev there. When I see Butcher, I kind of groan, because like with Bringer, you can clear him with other anomaly teams, but at least for me, anytime, I don't know if it's a skill issue or whatever, but I've tried like Vivian Yanagi, I've tried Alice Yanagi, I've done so many different anomaly teams. The only one I can consistently do decent with is a Miyabi X team, and it hurts my soul because I don't want to have to do that.
So I'm going to be on the opposite side of you guys. I love this boss, and it's mainly because of his combat, and he phases out some of his attacks, like he fakes out some of his attacks, and the twisting, I think everybody doesn't like when he charges up and then goes in that little tornado twist, and you have to either block that or you have to dodge correctly with Jane to keep on doing her counter attacks. But this boss is my favorite boss, like out of all these bosses,
Really?
because of the RNG and he looks so damn cool with his staff. He throws out like a lot of like RNG on his missiles and stuff like that. So I would say he's my favorite boss out of all these bosses. But
That's the thing here.
But for you guys' sake, if you guys say you don't really like this boss, we're gonna put him probably in the like category again, because we want to do okay on that. I think it's a like.
I
said before, I'm on the like sector.
I'm on okay.
I'm leaning okay, lower to hate, but
Yeah.
okay is I think fine.
I think let's put him in okay, because I'm the one that's
then
being
let's put
biased
it-
here.
I don't know. He's just he's one of the only two bosses that I see in the rotation, and I just groan. And we'll get to the boss when we get to it. You're probably audibly groan.
So this is
Is it very actively grown then, or?
Yeah.
So this boss
Oh, no.
is interesting that everybody is either a love, hate, or whatever. It's very equally split between all three.
Yeah, this
And
is actually one of the most interesting votings we have here. Yeah, it's like 30%, 30%, and 30% basically. So
yeah,
it's a very, very, very even splits, very hit or miss boss. I like the main thing that does it for me is like how just non like aggressive he could be sometimes in a fight. That's like when it had the dodge performance points, and he just like, you know, he has his attacks that are like pretty whatever. Like he kind of backs away and he does like the little magic like missile things on the ground that like shoot at you and kill you. Those things have like the worst registered hitboxes in the game to like actually do dodge counters on. I swear to God. I cannot for the life of me dodge those things, and I've played that fight for so many hours. It's just, I don't know what it is. I can't dodge counter them.
So it's
And,
why I just relied on Caesar. I did like a Miyabi Caesar team on Butcher because I just could not deal with dodging those.
And like I do prefer the disorder performance points to the dodge performance points, but it's just, I don't know, man. Not my thing,
opposite.
I guess.
Like I liked it when it was dodge, and then they switched it to anomaly. I was like, okay, whatever, it's still fine. So but then again, I have Jane, so that may be one reason why I liked it, because I did usually Jane and Vivian against him. I've also done Bernice and Vivian against him as well. So he's a weakness of ether and ice. So I mean, you can bring in the Miyabi check, but I'd still say Jane and Vivian is another good combo for him.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's like every general anomaly team is like really fun for him. I just do not remember a single time I have tried a non-anomaly team on Butcher and like had a better time, or at least even a good time, compared to doing so on Bringer, even with the hand. And this cycle with the hand like on Bringer being like super beefed up, it is kind of more of a problem. But I don't know. Like Notorious Butcher, it's just always been a problem for me.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Marionette. What is everybody's thoughts on Marionette?
Easy A tier, or not A tier, easy S tier.
Yep, I definitely agree with that one.
Back when the pool was more limited, like we had just Zhu Yuan and stuff like that, I really didn't Marionettes. But they've grown on me. It's gotten better. Maybe I've been better, But I see them and I'm okay. We can work with this. We can work with this.
Yeah.
He's a classic. So
Marionette's one of the this was one of the first bosses just in DA as a whole. Like, when the mode had come out, it was, I believe, the first cycle was just Marionette, Bringer, and like maybe old Pompey, the white Pompey.
Yep.
I have to go back.
I thought it was Typhon.
Was it Typhon? I think Typhon came like 2 seasons later. Hold on, let me open Hakushin and check.
Oh, I'm glad that for this Marionette they don't have the stupid like material farm, the double marionettes. I hated that boss. I'm glad that they phased it out.
They changed that boss to be from the most hated boss for me because of the material farming to one of my favorite bosses because of how she dances around and does her damage.
Yeah. Okay. For the first cycle was Bringer, White Pompey, and Marionette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Marionette is actually my first kill I ever got in ZZZ with
same
with Miyabi, Bernice, and I think it was Astra at that time.
Classics.
No, I'm six. But yeah, she was my first boss I cleared at that time when I think Miyabi came out. And I have to say, I have an M2 Miyabi. At that time, Bernice and Astra both were on M0 without signature. And only Miyabi was on signature and M2. But yeah, that was a funny experience. I still have the video. It's still funny to see. Yeah, good boss, honestly, good boss.
Yeah,
my first kill was the Marionettes of season 25 of Deadly Assault. With
you guys kill bosses?
Sometimes, not always.
Sometimes.
Mine was very recent, but
I think the max score I've gotten on a boss was 40k, and that was with like the insane aftershock buffs after Sandby got buffed.
That's great.
I've been climbing in scores like very consistently, very slowly, but pretty consistently. Like I got 50Ks like relatively early on, and my first 60K on my own account had come from acquiring Itari. It was not Marionettes at the time, but like it was still just like I was able to keep up with things for at least a little bit, and I mean I'll probably be here for a while where I'm in Cloud 9, able to maybe kill territory if I like get good, and am currently undergoing that experience with Bonnue, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, Marionettes, I like the boss, very cool. I do like the clone being a contributor to the stun pause mechanic as like an early iteration of the stun pause mechanic. I do also think I'm probably in an unpopular crowd that really liked the twin marionettes just as a whole, as a fight. I remember fighting those things in the base tower for the first time, and I was like, oh hell yeah, we're in this. But I do like the Notorious fight just as well. This is probably one of my favorite bosses.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny?
What?
If we compare to that, the real twin marionettes it counts as one of my top 3 favorite bosses in the game.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
So I love the double marionette actually more than the single one. But for DA it is fine. But the double marionette has this charm, and it is a well crafted double boss fight, honestly. But that's my subjective opinion. I know there's many people that disagree, but I do like it. She is also one of those bosses, I think, who were pretty right at the start of the game, had already, I think, 1 or 2 phases that are basically time-wasting mechanics that some other new bosses have more complaints by now with their miasma phases than actually Marionette got, which is, for me, an interesting view.
I want to say that the dance performance points or the clone performance points is actually one of the best performance points
I like this
out
one
there.
more.
So
Yeah.
And even like the first one of the bosses that actually had their little like phase of like invulnerables phase, like that actually was good with performance points before they actually did Miasma performance points with the gap phase. It was just
The only
Yeah.
thing,
It's just overall a really mechanically fluid boss. I think it just
Yeah.
represents the like base spirit of DA just completely perfectly.
True. I just want to say about the performance points that Marionette is also a very hard one to 5k. Some Miasma phases are way more easier to clear to 5k compared to Marionette. I just want to point that out.
Mm-hmm. So
it's tough to snipe those clones, but it usually doesn't matter too much.
No, I just want to say that performance point wise, some Miasma bosses are way better constellated than very many 1 point X bosses.
So we're all in agreement that he's one of our favorite bosses.
Yeah, I think so. I think Marionette's.
Yeah, we can get her to favorite, I suppose.
Yeah. So we are actually one each thing except for hate yet. But before we move on there, everybody, I think Marionette was the no, I think there was another one that people liked more than the Marionette, at least for the survey. But it's still like a good 50% of people love this boss.
True. Not much hate for this boss particularly, so very interesting.
Yeah, so like most people generally like this boss.
Yeah,
Like,
easy,
not
easy
like
boss
love.
that people can bully is favorite boss among player base. Who would have guessed?
I know, right? Weird.
Yeah.
Well.
So let's move on
All right.
to Typhon, which is the next question in the survey. What are your guys' thoughts on Typhon? Because I actually probably am different than the whole survey.
Typhon
Touch
Destroyer is a very funny situation of like, I think he's probably the easiest boss for pretty much the entire player base because of how scaled up and insanely broken all of his like boss mechanics modifiers are to, like all the damage you're able to do to him after impairs, and just the fact that he accelerates getting stuns so quickly after each impair. Just makes scores for most players, regardless of account structure, just very high. It's really interesting that that's the case, and yet he's somehow one of the less engaging bosses because, like, beyond a few interesting quirks with the anomalies that you have to kind of work around in order to be a little optimal and not like stagger him before you're doing the impair phases, and like I've experienced this particularly with Yanagi and Miyabi. Outside of that, it's kind of just play the same sequence 5 times in a fight and then you get a good score. And some DPSs are better at it than others, but I think probably the most killed boss is Typhon for, at least really good players, if not even above average players.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's okay, personally. I just am also like, he's kind of boring sometimes, depending on the matchup. It's pretty interesting.
You hit it on the nose for what I think of the boss. For the fact that he's very scripted and you can easily just fight him the same way each and every time is actually the reason why I do not like this boss. It's not that he's I wouldn't say easiness is the reason why he's okay to some people. I mean, like, people like him because he's easy, but like I actually don't like him because he's easy. So if anything, Typhon, which is why this for the survey, I think I'm the opposite of a lot of people, that Typhon, just because he's a pushover, everybody likes him. But just because he's a pushover. I don't like him. There's only one thing that is pretty cool, that you can dodge his jump phases if you time your ultimates just right, and that is probably the only cool thing I like about this boss.
I like when people like factor into their rotations, instead of using ultimates to skip the jump, using either shock or freeze, because the boss is freezable. Even though it's not ice weak, it is freezable, so you can use freeze or shock to stagger him in the same way in that regard. And I like when I see that. I just don't see it very often because most people aren't playing Miyabi into Typhon, because chances are there's a better boss that you can use Miyabi on. Since Typhon is vulnerable to so many things.
Bringer or Butcher on the phone waiting, be like...
But, like, yeah, I like how aggressive the boss is. I'll say that much. It was kind of one of the first bosses that... It's an iteration of an older elite enemy, the Typhon Slugger and the Typhon Challenger, who are just really sluggish and really slow enemies as a whole. The Typhon Destroyer is much faster and also has the impair mechanic, which is like unique to the line of Typhon enemies, and I really like that iteration. I just, in practicality, think sometimes, and especially more recently with how complex bosses have gotten, Typhon mechanics have kind of just fallen off in interest for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way I would describe him as simple, not bad, not good, but simple.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's
I think
a good way to put it.
And I think your opinion on that depends on if you like simple or if you don't like simple. Because if you like simple, then he's great because you just get to wail on him and then you don't have to engage with like Miasma as much. I don't know if they get Miasma phases now, but. Yeah, I personally, I think I like him. Sometimes I don't feel like tryharding my butt off to get 20k, and I just want to mash buttons, and he's a good boss to do that for.
Thirsty, what do you have to say
the
about
most
him?
Most press buttons friendly.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd say there's one more that's press buttons friendly. I think there's one more.
Interesting. But yeah, for me, it's like it's kind of similar to Savatra. I was thinking like there's not really, let's say, a boss I would say I hate, like really completely hate. But I was then a little bit thinking more about arguments. And Typhon, he's a very easy boss, that's for sure. And that's probably one of the reasons why I don't like him that much. Like, he's very easy, he is too repetitive, and it's like it's a scripted fight without much RNG. Like, the only RNG he has is how many attacks he does in between before he jumps at you, with the jump parries you can do on him. And just because he's easy to score high doesn't mean he's a good or a likable boss in my point of view. So he's definitely I would set him actually one of the lower interest bosses. So he's between okay and you could say maybe hate, but more on the okay agenda on my end.
So are we all in agreement that we do not like this boss, or is he okay?
Again, it's okay.
I think, yeah. Sorry, I thought my mic was muted.
I'm in okay as well. Like, and I like him overall. It's just, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think he's the most okay boss in the game. He's like the perfect middle of the road.
And like, that's not a bad thing. So to remind people, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just a matter of the complexity and interest or intrigue in like how these boss iterations has developed over time, has like kind of shown his flaws a lot more.
So this is most interesting one for our survey, because this is our most liked boss, as in 66% people think they actually like this boss compared to a lot of other people. There's only one person who said they hate this boss. Everybody else thinks it's okay, but a lot of our survey people who surveyed really do like and love this boss. So the survey is very much different than how we actually sort of rate the boss. So
it's funny.
It's very interesting that I think we are more sweaty players then, because that's the reason why we probably are like, okay, let's move on, or let's just get the points and get it over with. So
yeah, like as a boss, that's like it's the perfect boss for just like kind of having a casual player like in a rough situation and maybe a deadly assault cycle, and it's like on cycle. And then they're like, all right, cool. That's 3 stars solved. I can use one of my stronger teams for another boss. And like when you're in the phase of like getting up to that 6 stars point, or like getting to the clearing point of like 6 stars, 9 stars, and there's being new overall, Typhon's a good boss, and that makes sense. The casual player base is like, it's a very good boss for the casual player base, I think, is the like kind of main
thing is, most people compare fun to the end game with high scores, especially in DA. So I kind of understand that, because Typhon is a present, a gift, a gift for players, even for casuals, to score high and maybe get over 30 or 40k, pretty easy. So I can understand why so many people like him, as a boss. But then again, there are some people who simply don't like it because it's basically too easy and too repetitive or whatever. So yeah, but interesting survey, especially also the element, the second question is also over 90%. So
yeah,
people just naturally like the boss. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely good. Yeah.
We're just sweat lords.
Gamers.
Some more than others, but
Indeed.
all right, let's move on to Pompey. What is everybody's thoughts on Pompey?
Bueno.
The red one or the white one? You're for the
So
red one.
we're gonna combine these ones, the two, because they're basically the same, unless you guys have a difference between the two.
There's a difference.
There is a difference, yes, but they do pretty much similar things. I did not bring a white picture for it, or the red. I just only brought the red picture. So I was thinking that we haven't seen the white guy, the white Pompey, in a while. So I'm gonna guess we're not gonna see him ever again. But I think the red one we're gonna see.
Never say never. But...
Never say never. But
yeah. So, like, for instance, if we go with the two Pompeys, I would prefer the red one over the white one, simply because the red one is so godly aggressive and has a really nice moveset. At the beginning, funny enough, he was an okay boss to me, or I kind of disliked him a little bit at starters. But I actually came to like him a lot, and it is funny. I think most of my bosses probably are between the like and okay sector. No, but I do like him a lot. I played him with a DPS, with regular DPS, and with anomaly teams, and actually every team was pretty solid against him. I even fought against him with DPS A rank NB. Fufu and I think Lucy, and also that team managed to 20k him. So that's really like, I came to like him a lot, honestly. So yeah, he's definitely between favorite and like on my end.
He just looks so badass with his red and black and his mace, from at least his red version. The white version, I do have one thing to say. I think his motorcycle stopgap phase is a little bit longer on the white one, or at least a little bit different than the red one. So it's that's one reason why I think people are meh about the boss, is the fact that he goes in the circle and does an invulnerable phase for a little bit. But that is really scripted as to when that happens. It is a point based. So like if between 16 and 18k, or above that. So if you reach that point, he will go to his spin phase that you'll have to either stun lock him, or do his disorders or some way to stop him from like continuing to go onto that phase, but he will eventually go to that. I mean, there is a way to stop it fully, but I don't know how the mechanics to do that. But it's still, I think that's one reason why people might not like this boss. But in general, I think a lot of people are like, he has a 5-second invulnerable phase, but who cares? He's a brute force guy.
Yeah, the mechanics for the red version, for the red Pompey, are more friendly to having that stall potential. The red Pompey was also introduced at a time where there was one agent who could really easily take advantage of that mechanic by the name of Evelyn Chevalier. The major difference between the white Pompey and the red Pompey is actually like one of the reasons I like the red Pompey more is just because like the white Pompey has these little lasers that he just kind of throws off of his back sometimes, and they attack you. They're scripted enough that they coincide with specific attacks that the white Pompey does, but they do kind of just appear on their own. And like they are not like parryable, they're not, evasive assistable. You basically just have to dodge counter them kind of on the fly whenever they appear. Basically like how Wandering Hunter's little lasers work after his one attack, where he just throws the stuff off his back into the air and then onto the ground for the miasma pools. White Pompey was the first instance of that, and it really interrupted the like flow of fighting when you got clipped by one of those lasers, because like they have a Q, but most of the time you're kind of in the middle of doing something in your rotation and you're not ready for it, or Pompey is doing something else while those lasers are going off, and you're like trying to adjust for both of them at the same time, and it gets a little rough. It's a fair bit to keep track of. Red Pompey doesn't have any of that, and it makes the fight a lot smoother. He's compensated for it by just being more aggressive overall, and I do like that more. But also Red Pompey just like has mechanics to kind of allow both crit DPSs and anomaly DPSs kind of shine just completely. White Pompey is a little more anomaly focused, period, just because it came out and like its stage mechanics from the longest time ago since it last appeared, and I think like, I don't know, season 7, 8, something like that. It's been a long time. Like they were more anomaly leaning for, Bernice and such. But Red Pompey, you can still take Bernice into and do really well in an anomaly setting. I play him with Crit Bernice a lot. He's pretty good. I like him. He's in my top 3 of favorites. So like, I would put this boss in favorite if I had to choose like 3 of the bosses. This one I really like.
Yeah, I really like Pompey. Yeah, you'll hear this later with another boss. Music, I feel like, is something that they really underestimate on how much it affects your opinions. God, his track is so rad.
Yeah.
it makes me feel like a badass, and then he's not like, because his invincibility phase is so telegraphed, like when it's about to come. You can really like plan for it. And like you can squeeze every little bit of damage you can right before he does it. And like I like the parrying. I mean, one aspect of him I don't like is when he sits there waiting for you to attack him. And if you don't have like a character who can auto parry, or you have Caesar, then you're probably getting smacked in the face if you're just button mashing. But I don't know. He's just rad as fuck. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
I used to have to go at him with Caesar, but I think after I got used to his attacks, because he was so aggressive, I used Caesar a lot. But after he was less aggressive, or I got to know his gameplay, I didn't need Caesar.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, he's probably my favorite boss in the game right now. Like, he's peak. I still won't forgive them for not making Pompey a playable character, but this is decent enough.
This is a different topic.
Real.
But yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's so sad that he's you can't play him. He was really one of the best designs ZZZ dropped, honestly.
Yeah,
but yeah, we can put him in the favorite, I would say.
Briefly going back to the music point, like Chap is on something with that, because Long Live the King is very much one of my favorite OSTs in the game as a whole. So like, it's just actually everything about the Pompey fight. I think I just am really in love with.
Like, I know it's such a minor thing, but like music, it has like a subconscious. It has a very subconscious effect on how you perceive a boss.
So of the survey, this was a 50% love the boss. Everybody else was like okay or half okay and hate the boss. I'm pretty sure people who hate the boss is the fact that he goes in this vulnerable state of the circle. But other than that, I feel like this survey matches that. I'm gonna give a little spoiler alert. At the bottom, we asked which of all the bosses that everybody thought of. This was actually the top one compared to Typhon, even though Typhon got the most percentage on the pie chart. Everybody else liked the notorious Pompey, as in out of all the bosses. So we'll talk about
just
that.
Rad. I don't know.
We'll talk about that a little more at the end, but I just wanted to spoiler that.
Maybe that's the subconscious effect that Chap's talking about.
He's just rad. I don't. It's the reason people like Monito and Banyue. They're just rad. I don't know.
They're just rad. Oh, right. Nice.
Let's move on to Corruption Complex, the last of the non-miasmic bosses.
Okay,
what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Part.
Go ahead, Thirsty. You start this one.
So here's the thing. I was contemplating about, like before with Typhon, of bosses that I actually might not really enjoy or like, you know? And considering mechanics and everything, he's actually one of the lowest bosses and boss designs I have about him. Like, he is also one of those bosses that are easy to play and get easy high score. But I don't know. He's a weird case of so big and so odd to hit, you know, with the hitboxes and his legs. I mean, I never cared about his leg destruction because they always get destroyed on my end when I play with Corrin or whatever. But yeah, I don't particularly like this boss too much. Because of plenty of reasons, like his mechanics, his thing is like I can't really explain it, but he's also kind of in a way very RNG heavy and repetitive. Sometimes does odd things. So yeah, he's definitely on the lower end on my side.
I'm gonna agree with you, Thirsty, because when you first fight him, he does that beam attack, and that beam attack is hard to parry or dodge or like know when the thing's gonna explode. That is my most hated part, is the start, and then the fact that he rotates so much that it's hard to do the disarmaments or
impairment.
Like that's the word.
Disintegration.
Yeah, the impairments it's just so hard to do with this boss. I mean, I was lucky I got the achievement for him is if you were to destroy 3 of his legs before he gets stunned, before one of his stun windows, you get an achievement for it. But other than that, he's a terrible boss to fight against for me.
I think I have this boss is one of my favorite bosses in aesthetic design overall. Like when I saw this boss, and I'm just generally a big fan of Chapter 2 and to an extent, by extension, Chapter 3 as a whole. For that was also a big part of my for Marionette. But aesthetically speaking, I really like kind of the concept of the boss. I am in the camp of kind of your two's opinions and practical application. The mechanics leave a little bit to be desired. Like the destroying of the legs is really cool, and the whole thing is the bro's a giant spider made out of other smart intelligent machines. That's cool as hell. The hitboxes and actually grinding the boss for any extended period of time, and all of the other quirks of his other attacks, there's a lot that gets on your nerves after a certain point that makes it unfun to play for an extended period of time. I think it's another boss that's you see it on the rotation, and it is kind of a freebie for most casual players, and it's fine, but it does have its quirks that get in the way. And I'm over time, I've come to not like the mechanics as much, but I think I'm pretty firmly in the tier for this one overall. Maybe I can justify moving it to okay, but I think the aesthetics kind of carry it for me if I'm gonna put it in
I mean, it's fair.
For me, he's probably the first boss I would put close to hate. He is simple like Typhon, but he's simple in a boring way. It's a shut off my brain and mash. And I know I praised Typhon for that, and now I'm criticizing Complex for this. But there's a difference because Typhon, he's more engaging. For Complex, I just find him boring. And I said simplicity isn't a bad thing, but I really I don't know. He's just, his vibe's off. The laser beam is off. I don't like the missiles. If he randomly does the missiles, then you have to just block or constantly dodge because you'll get knocked back by them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really like him that much. I will say one upside is that he is both simple and weak to electricity, and electricity is one of the most prolific elements in the game. So he's probably even more punching baggable than Typhon is, because if you have Grace, if you have Yanagi, if you have Harubasa, if you have Sanbi, if you have
DPS Chingy.
Chingy can beat her up, beat it up. I don't know. It's just DPS and B I've seen beat up Complex.
True.
I think that's got to account for at least a little bit of something. But
the only thing I like about him is the perma impairs you can give to him. I kind of like the sound of it, when you impair him. But this is the only likable thing about him.
The only good thing about him is the fact that those impair sounds are actually they're nice to hear when you do it.
They're satisfying. They're satisfying. But other than that, he's definitely between okay and hate for me. I mean, I don't really hate bosses in ZZZ because most of them have really good designs and are mostly pretty good to game with. I had good runs against UCC as well. Especially one of my favorite teams against him is DPS Jingy, Nicole, and Trigger. But he's definitely on the very low end about my roster.
I wanted to cut in and also say I agree with Sev in the sense that I like his design. I think it's a cool design. I just think the execution on the fight is bad.
Mm-hmm. Agree on that.
So where do we put him? Okay or hate?
I think we're gonna put them all as hate. I mean, we did have a one okay, but everybody else was like, eh.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's
Another
fair.
thing I want to like point out that kind of goes back to Chap's last point is I do like I do listen to the OST of Zenless a lot, kind of at work and just out of context of the game. The Metal Chimera is not a song I can listen to out of game. Like I need the sound effects from the boss to like make it sound proper, and that's like the one song in the OST I think I'm like that with, which is interesting because like it's a really interesting way to perceive the music, and like kind of goes into the whole the music makes the fight experience type of thing, or like has an effect on it, and I can agree with that in that instance.
True.
So for Unknown Corruption Complex, this is an easy, or not easy, this is a pretty much a even split between whether you like, hate, or whatever. It's a 30, 24, 40%. Everybody is like, there's no reason why they want to, the weakness or resistance affects it. There's only a couple people that say that it is, but I think most people, it's sort of weird that we hate this boss, but there's a good portion of people still like this boss.
I think that's again the sweat's coming through. Like you fight this guy enough times, you just kind of get sick of seeing him.
Right. It's just we play too much. We should touch more grass, guys. It's a sign.
I can't touch grass. It's like depth of winter right now. There's no grass to touch. It's
just grow grass in your home. It's that easy.
All right.
Yeah.
So before we go on to the miasmic bosses, a word from our sponsor.
Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right! Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store.
Welcome.
Random Play Video Store
Is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Random Play Video Store.
Wow, what a difference!
That's right. Today's sponsor is brought to you by Random Play. With this sponsorship, Random Play has a deal for you. Show that you've liked and subscribed to our channel, and you will save 10% off your next rental. Thank you, Random Play, for sponsoring this video.
Awesome.
Amazing.
So, let's go to the first miasmic boss that was introduced, Priest. What is people's thoughts on Priest?
I think I'll go last on this one.
Oh, you want to be the last one? I see it.
I'll go last on this one.
I'll go first.
Chapter, you go first.
Miasma's like kind of the okay to like tier for me. They're not anything special, but I like them more than the guys in okay. My thing with Miasma is that she's the one who kind of started the trend of pushing bosses to be like specifically targeted for a specific type, and especially when Yijuan was the only rupture in the game, it was pretty rough if you didn't have her. Now that we have Yidari and we got Banyue and Monato, it's helped a lot. But you can feel the anomaly resistance. You can feel the damage resistance on Miasmic. On Priest. Like gameplay wise, I think she's good. I'd probably put her in liked, but it's her who kind of started the trend of pushing towards a specific type of character.
I want to agree that Yixuan was the reason why you fight this boss. You only brought her to it. That's the reason why I'm okay with this boss. That's just because I pulled for her. But until like just recently, I mean, I've always brought Yixuan to this fight, but I know people have been able to fight this without her. The first Miasma boss introduction was good, as in like mechanics, but still, like the flurries of parries is sometimes I never can get the 9 parries. I probably usually get 6 to 7 parries out of that string, and that's one reason why I don't really like that miasmic phase or that part of the phase. But otherwise, I wouldn't say I hate this boss. It's just that it's okay to me. What about you, Thirsty?
I'm also okay with this boss. Like, design-wise, she's good. Battle mechanics, honestly, are not too bad. But in the overall experience on my end, I played against her with plenty of teams, from Rupture to DPS, even with Corrin and Haramasa. I even tried Vivian DPS, Crit Vivian. And other stuff. So the battle experience with her, even though I appreciate the RNG she has, like I'm one of those people who prefers to have more RNG in a battle compared to other stuff, because then it's always like a different experience, which you can also maybe hear it already in my like and not like list. But I don't know. She is one of those bosses I can't find to wipe with specifically. So she will stay in the okay sector because I don't really have any hate for her. But she's not good enough for me, even though she has some cool stuff around her. It's not enough for me to like her or even to favorite her. So she is really a solid okay on my end. She exists. I will fight her. I will beat her up. That's it.
All right, Sevadra, you end it.
All right. I am pretty confident at this point. Miasma Priest is my favorite boss in the game, just hands down, completely. I really like how unique this boss is. I really like how aesthetic wise, and also just generally boss mechanic wise, I think this boss is just kind of the best designed boss, like with regards to like all of the ways that it's intertwined and like its design and kind of integrated in the story, and kind of integrated with what the game kind of wants you to do with the boss. And that is even considering like all the previous points made about like, you know, being favored for Rupture, even though I pretty much disagree with that. And, you know, all of the community concerns about it being like, quote, anti-Miyabi, which I also disagree with, just as a whole. I think this boss is completely fine with pretty much every matchup you can think of. I have played Ellen and Hugo and Yitari and Miyabi and every other agent, actually, into this boss. I've played this boss so much with every agent, specifically to like make the guide that I made a long time ago. But I have played this boss like with everyone that I can think of. Like, and that's a lot of agents, don't get me wrong, but like I think the boss just kind of is in a state of like, except for one attack, it has so much flexibility and fluidity that you can do so much more with the boss than I think people let on with it. And it's so much fun. The sword parry mechanics are really cool. You can kind of get those random impairs if you're lucky, and the purple phase, the purple mural phase, like sword parries are just really cool to see. It's got a banger soundtrack. It's got like the voice lines, the Veverak voice lines go kind of crazy, where she's just like, you will disintegrate in front of me and you will like it. And it's I just really like this boss. Like it's my favorite boss in the game.
Savadra,
Awesome.
your video made me appreciate this boss a lot more at the beginning. I mean, like when I didn't really understand why he did his attacks like that, your video very much explained and got into why this boss does the things it does, which it makes it very cool as in like a boss and how his attacks work. But I still am like, the main thing that hits me bad is the fact that flurry attack. But I wouldn't say it's hate for me. It's just that ruins my fight sometimes, that I can't always get that perfect RNG on the flurries.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. Like it's definitely a, you know, quick time and like quick reaction thing that you like, you know, you can like spam through it best you can, but sometimes it just doesn't like work because of the game register, and that's completely fair as a point. I think it's just both aesthetically and mechanically, Priest is my favorite boss in the game.
Yeah, like
For-
I don't own Yishuan, so I played. The stream is. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I don't have Yishuan, so I also played with many teams against Priest. Even with Hugo, it works. So she's definitely a pretty fairly balanced boss overall, with which you can really go against her with every DPS you have. But yeah, the overall vibe with her, as I said before, isn't hitting my sweet spots. So which is why she's okay for me to fight.
For me,
highest
I wanted to
scoring
say-
team. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, Sev reminded me of something. Out of all of the Miasma characters, I think her Miasma is like best in terms of how like interactive it is, and it has a balance. Like, spoiling it for a little later, I don't like the Miasma phases for any of the next upcoming bosses. All of them have something I don't like about it.
I see.
I agree with you.
Really
Thank
fair
you,
as well.
Chap, for saying that, because that is my main thing too. Is like the miasmic phase for this boss is by far the best out of all the other bosses, but it's still. I mean, I wouldn't say, but it's still. I think the implementation of miasma made me like miasma until the next few bosses, and I'm just like, yeah. But we'll go
That's
into that a little bit
fascinating.
later.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the reason that I like her more is like I would probably put her more like than okay when I was talking. She's just, I don't know, they got it right the first time. The only reason I want to put her like slightly down is because she did start the trend, but at that time it was kind of like whatever.
Mhm.
I can't really hold too much against it.
So
I like it.
Yeah.
are we in agreement
The
that
only
it's
thing
okay?
three
or-
okays.
I
Three
think
okays and one favorite.
Yeah,
I
I'm in
say
favor.
like. I say like.
Okay, we'll put him in
I've-
like.
Yeah.
So from the survey says people actually do really like think, or not really like, they think it's just okay, and that's at least, I think that's how we all feel about it, except for Savadra.
Which is totally fine. It's totally fine. There's always a boss someone likes, even if it is basically the most hated boss by 90% of the player base. There will be at least one guy who loves it, so it's totally fine.
And I'm not even really completely contrarian about it in regards to the rest of the community. It's just I have enjoyed playing the boss so much that I don't know. I really like it more. I was also going to briefly mention like I skipped Yishuan, so my highest scoring team on Priest has consistently been Zhuyan, Fufu, Nicole, and that's like particularly interesting to me.
When I said before, like her damage, you can feel it. I mean, not as bad as some of the upcoming ones, but it definitely has a difference versus when you're using a rupture agent versus.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that like completely. I just like am also able to say, yeah, I've gotten several 40Ks with Julia, and that's cool to me.
Nice.
All right, let's move on to Fiend. What is people's thoughts on Miasmic Fiend? I think I'm going to go first this round. And I faced against Miasmic Fiend for the longest time in Tower before I even faced her in the story or in the Deadly Assault boss rotation. And I did like her attacks and stuff like that at first. But after a while of me trying to figure out the boss's miasmic phase and the fact that you have to do the same scripted miasmic phase again and again over and over again is why I actually do not like this boss. And I've heard other things about like his sound effects are an issue. I don't really have an issue with the screeching, but other than that, I feel like the main thing that hits me wrong is the miasmic phase, and you have to dodge the darts, and then you then you get the points that way.
Yeah, lending to Chap's point about the implementation of miasma and just kind of how it's progressed over the game, like since the start of season 2, I do think Fiend is the worst implementation by a bit of a landslide. The concept is interesting, and like it's a unique challenge in like in relation to every other miasma phase that's in the game. The problem is that like most people like look at it and it's like it's a time waste, and you know it's valid because you know you get 3 minutes on the timer, and then the priest just kind of jumps up and you're like, what are you doing? And then it just starts throwing its stuff at you, and it stays up there for 25 seconds, and then you're like, oh, so I just don't get to damage you for 25 seconds, and I get no bonus for enduring the thing or doing so. The like purification of the miasma shield for, you know, getting the energy back or whatever, and you know, you get a little bit of performance, or not performance point, you get damage score for like hitting purify, but in a situation where you're going to have to like do something to get performance points anyway, it kind of doesn't work super well for it to have just been like, yes, so play the mini game in order to get the performance points. It's like, I don't know, that was probably just something else I feel like they could have done, like even with what is currently present in the Fiend, to make the performance points more interesting and maybe not make the miasma phase as long. And I think that this opinion is generally like more exacerbated nowadays by the whole like this enemy got a lot of HP since it last appeared, and that was 3 cycles ago. And like it jumped up so much in HP since it really debuted, and it's like you can feel that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm also gonna chime in here because I'm with Seb on this one. Probably, I think there's one who has like a worse implementation, but this one's damn close. I really don't like the mini game. It's boring as hell. Like, and weirdly, the hitboxes on both the daggers that she throws and the explosion pools, I don't know what's up with them. Sometimes I dodge and I get hit anyway, and I get mad because I'm like, I am halfway across the arena at this point. I feel like I almost need to run Jane just so I get the extra dash. But I'm fighting.
Yeah, it's definitely got its problems.
And then the rest of the fight for me.
Go ahead.
The rest of the fight for me.
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
It doesn't compensate. I like the fight. Like the rest of the fight's fine, but like that miasma phase really taints it. And it's so long that sometimes you don't get to see her full moveset either. Like, there are some moves. There's the move where she throws the daggers into the ground and, like, when she's not in the miasmic phase. I hadn't seen that for, like, 5 cycles. Because it just takes so long for her to do that, and I just didn't... wow, this boss has more moves that I never see because the phase... It takes so long, and I'm bored out of my mind while doing it. And yet still somehow getting mad at it.
It's fair.
Yeah, she's okay, definitely. I agree with most of the points you have. Like, I mean, she has her miasma phase still is very easy. So it's basically free 5k points, and I had my argument presented before in another podcast when we first talked about her. It's free, easy 5k points, which is very user-friendly to beginners for Deadly Assault. But she's a very strong anomaly check. And
That's
most
I didn't even bring up.
yeah, and most of the teams for Fiend are basically I saw is either Jane or Alice. This is basically most of the teams I always see on Fiend performing. Yeah, she's okay. She's okay. I would say she's one of those bosses that can be good if they tweak a few of her assets a little bit more. But I played against her with Corin a few times, and I did get the 20k if I put in a little bit more effort. And I did actually free start her even before I got Dial-In. I just want to point that out, because Dial-In makes is an interesting case with the double ultimate you get from her. This is quite a Fiend killer. I still need to try that team against her again in the future. Also, funny enough, it is true that her HP got up in the last cycle, but there will be future tweaks down. Let's say it won't be 160 in the future. So yeah,
I'd want to point out the Yuzaha parry mechanic that you can do with the I don't remember what it's called, but the fact that you do the basic attack hold, you can parry the darts and then do that. That's sort of that's fun thing to do compared to just dodging the darts. But other than that, if you don't have Yuzaha to do that, you might as well just dodge and get your performance points over with.
Caesar also works.
The advantage of doing that with either one of them is that it does actually count as defensive assist. So you can also, I think, do that with Banyue, but that's playing fire into fire res and an anomaly boss, so I'm not sure how well that actually helps Banyue specifically. But like, since they count as defensive assist, it actually does drain the miasma like during the phase faster. So like, it takes less time after the invulnerability is done to actually destroy the miasma. So that's pretty good.
So we want to put it as a hate. Oh, go ahead, chap.
I was gonna harp on the anomaly. Like I said, my Priest was the first time we saw the trend. I feel like Fiend is probably when we started feeling it, because it is kind of rough. Like, I know you're talking about Corin. If you put in the elbow grease, you can get it to a point where you can actually clear with it. But man, does she take so much more damage from anomaly. It's absurd. Like, if you don't have Alice or Jane, it hurts, and it hurts bad.
Trust. This is the anomaly boss, which means that somehow, even though it's an anomaly boss, it's also physical weak, which means Ye Shangguang will kill it the next time it's on cycle. Don't worry about it.
Probably. It will be the favorite boss suddenly for many people.
So are we in agreement we don't like this boss?
I could put this boss in okay. If it's going to be
also
majority
put it
hate,
okay.
then it's what it is. But I can put this boss in okay.
It's 2 okay, so it depends on you, Softy and Chep.
Because I think we're gonna have to put it in as like an in between. We're gonna throw an okay, but I think the majority of us are.
Yeah.
It's a half and
Not
half.
very high on this.
I think it's okay to put it in hate then, as a collective, I suppose.
Yeah. I think given how we've really only commented on the negative of this boss,
Yeah, I would go to hate for that one. Yeah.
So
That's fair.
Miasmic Fiend is I think it's the second most hated boss within this survey. It's either second or third. But as you can see this from the graph right here, it's quite a big polarization of people hating this boss, and there's only 2 people that love this boss. So,
and interesting to note that it is a larger percentage of people who say that the Elementer advantage, like element stuff at the next one, it's a higher percentage than we have been seeing for the other bosses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fascinating.
All right. Let's go to the Defiler. We're going to save
All right.
Thirsty for last because we know his answer. And go to why we all probably hate this boss.
Okay. I'm probably not in the full hate camp. I struggle with this boss because my account was more anomaly leaning for the longest time. Like, my first limited stunner was lighter, and then my second limited stunner was Jafufu. So I did not have a great time with Defiler when it first came out, but now I have Dial In, so I will probably have a much better time with it because I basically spent since 2.1 and getting Yuzuha, I've basically spent my time kind of saying, okay, my anomaly side of my account is fine. I'm gonna start properly making sure that all of my crit agents are actually decent. And I was able to use Haru Jafufu against Defiler, but that is not a team that is very nice to play. And that's not the Defiler's fault. It's just that team doesn't mesh very well. I think I'll have a much better time when it comes back around playing Haru Dial In.
Because Dial In can be a on-field stunner than Jufufu can be.
Yeah. And then besides that, in what I did play against Defiler that wasn't the Harumasa, it was mostly Korin. And it's it's pretty good overall. I think the flow of the fight with the right agents, and I've even also dabbled in, obviously playing Anomaly despite the recommendation. I've played it into that fight, and besides needing to save an Anomaly ult or 2 for the Miasma phase, it's alright. This boss is probably just a very middling boss for me because I didn't have a good team to play against it, since I don't have Soldier Zero and I don't have Trigger and I don't have Evelyn or any great sustainable on-field DPS, and it's ice resistant. So playing Ellen into it is kind of a death sentence. I haven't been able to try Didhari on it yet because it's not back in rotation yet, but I could probably use Threshold Simulation for that. I might do that later. But yeah, just kind of as a whole, I think I just haven't had the opportunity to really enjoy this boss, with its best matchups. But I do still like the boss, in terms of its mechanics overall. With the Miasma Shield being another variation of, the stall thing, but it's not, as long as the Fiend's Miasma phase, so it's, better, but it's not the best. And also Defiler's other invulnerable things with the daggers and the soldiers. Those are kind of downs that a lot of people don't really like about it. I think it's great because it has a lot of decibels, and the boss is generally extremely defensive assist focused throughout the entire thing. So it's pretty cool that you're doing it throughout the fight for different reasons, and like I do like that a lot. But overall, like it's kind of in the mid tier. I don't like expressly hate it, but it's whatever, I guess, for me. I'm like pretty strict okay.
I think so personal thing for me, I don't know if it affects anyone else. She's really loud when she's yelling, and I have to turn her down constantly because it gets ear grating when she's like yelling into my ears. That honestly throws the boss way down for me. I also don't like her miasma. Like, I think Fiend's miasma is slightly better than hers. I don't like the DPS, like the DPS check stuff. I didn't say it with Bringer because it doesn't matter too much with Bringer. Plus, you get performance points for it. But with Defiler and spoiler Thrall, I really don't like DPS checks like that, where it's just, hey, you have no stun, no anomaly. This is just raw numbers. Good luck, idiot. I'm strongly against those types of things. And then her miasma phase itself, it might be numerically shorter, but it feels like it goes on for an eternity. And when I don't like her voice yelling into my ears and she's constantly doing it, and I'm forced to sit there as she's invulnerable and I can only parry when she decides she wants to start throwing attacks at me, I get a little annoyed. This is probably one of my other hate bosses, if I'm honest.
So
I'm actually very curious about a point that you made real quick, and I'm like, when I ask a question about if you are like if you're different to the like raw number DPS checks, how do you feel about like either that concept or just kind of the overall thing in comparison to how the Bringer hand does it, where it's not like strictly a number DPS check, but it's very much more like, can you do a strong disorder? Like, how do you feel about that in comparison?
I also don't like that. I didn't bring it up with Bringer because his DPS check is like way lower, especially since a good disorder just instantly deletes the health bar. And like, I'm not saying that her like flower thing that you have to break isn't low. I just really don't like it. I always forget about it, and then I try and do an anomaly team into her, and I'm like, right, this exists. Guess I'll die. Whereas with Bringer, at the very least, I don't know, I've been able to break it with attack agents. I have not once broken the tsunami barrier with an anomaly agent.
Crypt Beneath I was able to do it, but other than that, I've not really tried anything else.
Like, long-winded answer, I also don't like Bringers, but Bringers is less of an offender.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to say before we have Thirsty go on, I'm pushing it because I know we know how you think. At least we do. I don't know if everybody else who's listening to the podcast does. But the miasmic phase, I'm okay with. The first parry phase for his points, I'm okay with. The third iteration of parry phase for the points is the most boring part, and I hate it. I hate it. Of all the other bosses, it makes me hate this boss because of the fact that you have to do a parry the army phase, and it is so pointless in the fight that it just irks me that you have to parry the army for no damn reason, and then you go finish the last 30 seconds of the boss, or last 45 seconds. If they would have done the first thing where you just parry the things from the air, I would have been okay with that. I would still not like the boss just because of the fact that there's so many invulnerable phases, but at least the parrying of the slashes is much more enjoyable than parrying the sinking soldiers. It was one of the boss fights that they should not have just carried on from the story. They should have actually done a little bit more editing to make sure that they do not add that part of the thing.
Yeah.
I will set on this one because even though I don't hate it, but I have to agree with you. I think this soldier parry phase can be improved or even skipped completely about the Defiler. Yeah, this is definitely a thing. They have changed the twin marionettes battle phase for Deadly Assault, in the past to the Notorious Marionette. I would say that a Notorious Defiler, an improved version of her in Deadly Assault, especially with the soldier part, I would agree with you. But other than that, if we go by this, I haven't changed my opinion. I still love the Defiler, and it is still my favorite boss. She can defile me all day. No, jokes aside. Anyway.
Brother.
I like her. I'm a sucker for well-scripted fights or RNG fights, and Defiler kind of hits the sweet spot for both things because she has a bit of RNG, but she also has a scripted fights. And I do like her. I never really had any problems with her against parrying stuff, etc. I think the first team, what was the first team? I think the first team I fought against her was my current team, and I got 30k. And I think Sevadra and Softimage were in the same call as me when I first thought about her, and they were hearing me completely fangirling about the Defiler. I was so hyped up. I was really cheerful. She, for some reason, she's my favorite boss, which goes against plenty of other people. Even though in some of my videos I posted and explained that I love the Defiler, I had some other people agreeing with me that they also like the boss a lot. So it's not everyone, but many people. So that's definitely a thing that's present. She is, for me, really good, and you can also use anomaly agents against her, even with the anchor stage she throws at you. I have cleared her with Astra, Jane Doe, and Vivian. And I have cleared her with Miyabi, I think Bernice, and Astra. So it is possible. You have to adapt your routing during her anchor phase. You have to go in with Astra ult, chain attacks, and either chain ult or Miyabi ult to get the anchor done. Miyabi is actually a little bit more easy since she has also crit damage. But if you go full anomaly, you would like to use ultimates and special attacks as much as possible to get shit going. Overall, I think her design is really well made, and I'm not talking about just the Guna factor. I do like her moveset a lot. She has quite plenty of movesets. Her so-called game-wasting mechanics, I don't mind, because you get a few things back. Even in the soldier phase, it is not like you get nothing out of it. You get decibels and energy out of it with your agents that you parry on. Her miasma phase is one of those, she has one cinematic one, and then she gives you a parry sequence after. And with the parry sequence after, you get most of the shield done instantly, and then most of the time you enter a stun phase if you go DPS, which is solid, honestly, and you have many resources ready for the stun window. Ideally, you get, I think, at least 3 stun windows from her. There's also ways to play with fewer against her. So overall, she is, I think, a pretty good boss. Script-wise, I think she is one of the best bosses in the game of ZZZ with her battle script. I like her a lot.
So other than Thirsty, where are we going to put this character?
I think it is fair between... I
think Thirsty and I are on completely opposite ends here. We kind of bow each other out.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I get the reason of other people's, so if you hate it, it's totally fair. That's your opinion.
I said I was in pretty firm okay. I can I'm more towards like than hate for it, but I'm like still in the okay part of it. That'll probably change the next time it comes around, and I
I
can
don't. I think it
actually
should
play it well.
probably go in okay. Like, despite what I think, okay, or like, I know
Yeah.
I drag it down a bit. I
Despite
don't like this.
despite our hates for it, chap, I think we're gonna have to put it in okay. But
I mean,
It
if it
is
is
what it
too
is.
hate, yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter really. Like, okay or hate.
we'll put it in okay, but it's still like right in between there.
Yeah, I think this is fine between okay and hate for you guys. It's the majority after all.
So the chart for Miasmic the Defiler is pretty even, as in people either are all three, whether you love, hate, or okay with it. The one thing is that this is one of those mores where, yes, the type advantage has people not like this boss or make their decisions as to why they like or do not like this boss.
Yeah, I think I'm in that camp of like if it wasn't specifically ice resistant, I would probably like the boss a lot more. But it's just I have very little coverage in the physical and electric departments for crit DPS specifically. And like I don't have Haramasa's best teams, so I just couldn't play Haramasa super well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? Apparently, for me, a little side note: the advantage element stuff thingy. I answered everything with no because I simply don't care about that one. I just fight with teams that work with it. So, for me, it was always no. I don't really care.
Yeah,
about
it's
the
no for me for the most part as well. This is just the one boss that it's like I haven't had the opportunity to play. It's specifically like its best matchups or, do anything super good with trying to optimize it to a major point. And part of that is I just don't have the I don't have the agents for its best matchups, and so it plays a factor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few that influenced my opinions, but it's mostly the one. It was mostly Defiler, Fiend, and Priest because they're specifically designed for their types. All right, not Fiend, not Priest, Hunter. Which, speaking of which,
Yep. Speaking of which, let's move right to the Hunter.
Here we go.
What are the people's thoughts about the Hunter? Let's go with Thirsty, since we ended you last time. Let's start with you.
Sure thing. So, apart from the music that is very eerie in your ear, and we have mentioned this before, and I have mentioned it before, I think his fight is between I think I like his fight. If I'm completely honest, even though he has sometimes this RNG factor where he just stands and well, you have to attack him then. This is like a minor dislike of me having about him next to the music, but other than that, his Miasma phase is also very quick, and this hide and seek moment is also refreshing in a game wise. Like it's kind of funny. So yeah, I do like him a lot, and not only because I have Yutari. I fought against plenty. I have fought against him with plenty of agents already. With everything I have basically. I even tried with Corrin, which is still I still haven't done the 3-star Corrin against him. I still have to do that. I probably will only do it with Dialin now. But yeah, other than that, I think I do like him. He's a solid like on my end. He has a good setup, he has a good moveset. Even though he has the highest defense in the game, you can still clear him with other agents. You have to adapt a little bit on your build and better use some pen ratio stuff, or even like agents with defense down. Nicole is a good moment here. Yeah, no, he's good, but I have to turn on off the music on him specifically.
I'm just gonna agree with you.
I'm pretty much mostly the same, except I have a larger kind of dislike for the frequency of his attack pattern RNG to simply stand there and do nothing in a fight that is reliant on him doing something so that you can keep up the stack mechanic. In optimizing that, it gets super annoying because it feels like it happens a lot more often than it should, like it should be able to. And it happens often enough that even though I really like everything else about the boss, actually, I do actually like everything else about the boss, and like, you know, the theming and aesthetic wise, it's a little lower on the scale for me, like not as high as Priest, but roughly on like Marionette or Pompey level for me, because like I do know top 3 bosses. But like, if the gameplay was not so annoying with every other agent that wasn't Monato, and like, also for reference, it is the Rupture boss of all time, so it's like the stage mechanic, it specifically favors Rupture, it specifically buffs sheer damage, so it requires dodge counters and assist follow-ups, and the only one who can access assist follow-ups at will is Monato. So like, you kind of need to like do things reliant on the boss attacking you so you can dodge counter with Yidhari or Banyue or Yixuan. And like, if you're not using a Rupture agent, it doesn't matter, but it's also like the non-Rupture agents definitely do score lower on that boss, just on average. If the boss didn't just stand there for 5 seconds and ruin your timer and almost completely screw over your run to like get that stun or keep up your stack management, because sometimes it's just straight up enough that you will just lose all your stacks, it would be in my top 3 of bosses, but it's just not. I can't put it there because it doesn't have the mechanics just are unfriendly enough, barely, that I just can't put it there. Like, I don't hate it, I do really like it. It's very on the like scale for me. I just can't put it in a favorite.
Jap, what about you?
Oh, the music gives me a headache, dude. Oh my god. This is the other boss that I said I groan when I see it, besides Butcher. Just like, oh god, I hate the music. I hate it. The boss itself isn't like terrible. I don't like that he stands still all the time. But oh my god, like, he's the anti-Pompey. He is just, it's annoying because yes, there's the Rupture like shill, where how you need a Rupture character to like get an easy score or even like a decently high score. But man, I could forgive that if the music wasn't just like I know I said before it shouldn't be a big thing, but the song honestly gives me a headache. This is such a personal thing, but just hearing that constantly, and they had the opportunity of using Lucia's like song, because they used it in game already, and I'm pissed that they didn't do that. Because that would have annihilated any criticism I have of the boss. Or I say,
it's like layered in a way that like you hear the lyrics during the miasma phase and during the perception technique specifically, but outside of that, it's just a very like dull instrumental, and like not dull in like I don't like it. I do actually kind of like the vibing of it, but I agree it's like very mind numbing.
And then to like comment on the actual boss, I don't like the miasma phase. It's fast, and I like that it's fast, but I think the shoehorning in of the perception phase is really lame, and it gives you like a weird bit of RNG because it just depends on where the little Lucia spawns. Because if she just spawns behind you, well, I guess I gotta turn my camera 180 degrees because it wasn't in my immediate field of view.
Yeah. That gets hard on controller specifically. Like on mouse, it's fine when you have like a good high sensitivity. On controller, it's really slow. It's to like
you
turn.
gotta like turn. You're like, oh, not that one. Oh, not that one. Well, of course, it was the one. It was the third one, and now, and like, I don't know. This guy's probably like my least favorite boss, and honestly, it's mostly if they just changed the music, he would go from a hate to like an okay to like maybe a like. But God, I actively get a headache when listening to it, and when a boss, yeah, good thing I can turn it off. But like the very fact that the boss actively physically makes me hurt,
It's not a good thing.
I mean, it's not the boss. It's just the music. To be
I know, and that's why it's frustrating.
The music is on the boss. So
Yeah.
So
And like I know it's not a fair criticism, so I would say probably don't take my opinion on it. But this is the other boss that I just can't
So
stand.
we'll put the soundtrack as the most hated. We'll put it right here. Or we'll put it right here as the soundtrack. We'll put it
Fair
right
enough.
here.
Yeah.
But where we're gonna actually put the boss, I think we're gonna move him to a light.
it was a like from me.
It was a like from me as well.
Yeah, so I think like is fair, but I need
Without
to
the
get that
music.
out there.
Without the music.
Without the music.
yeah.
I'm completely fine if you guys put it in like. It hurts my brain.
He's hearing it already. He's hearing it.
So the Wandering Hunter again, it's all three around pretty even. Yeah, it's
I wonder how much the music influenced people's opinion. I really
that
should have
actually
asked.
would have been one of them where it's like, does this music affect your outcome? Is that a question?
Yeah, we should have done that.
I should have done that.
That's a hindsight thing.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll
That's a
probably get a
hindsight
ton of
thing.
comments about it.
yeah.
Yeah, check the comments. Check the comments if there's anything about it, about the music.
But yeah.
All right, our last boss that we have.
Dun.
Dun. Why am I forgetting his name?
Spoiler.
Thrall.
The
That's
Thrall.
It's a
Thank
spoiler,
you.
obviously.
The spoiler.
Fortunately, it's been the next patch is coming in 8 days. It's if you haven't played the story by then, that's your fault.
I just call him the Thrall because it's easy.
I haven't done the story yet.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna
Well-
wait for the story until 2.5 comes out, and I'll do both 2.4 and 2.5. But
Like fair criticism, like the missing voice lines is a turnoff, but it's not like as egregious if people made it out to be. I'm fine with it, but in any case, like, yeah, that's it. That's the one.
mhm.
Chef.
Thrall.
So I want to start on this one here and say I like this boss, but I also hate this boss. I like this boss for the mechanics.
Fascinating.
Mechanics of like what he does. I like it. The only thing I don't like is that they programmed it so horribly and that they've had to hotfix it so many times, or at least once or twice, to get his hitbox correctly. And that's one reason why I'm not a fan of this boss, is because of the fact that they've had to go back and fix some things, fix and tweak some things so that way you can actually hit the boss correctly. There was a video I watched that basically said that, they even after they fixed it, it's still bad. The one thing that the Thrall actually part of the fights, he's actually, when he's not on the battlefield, he's actually in another spot outside the battlefield. So when you're using Harmasa against him, you could aim at the Thrall and not at the boss, and it was tilting because of that. So that's why I do not like this boss, but I also like this boss because he's got some cool moves. One thing that I also want to say before I move on about what I don't like about this boss is he has two stinging forms. I do not like his human form because it's just basically the same size as you. Where if he was just a little bit bigger, I think I would have been fine with that. But
Yeah, those are fair, and I can agree with the kind of human size model part of the Thrall. Like, it makes it kind of difficult, and also it just moves around a bunch, so it makes kind of sustaining your attacks on it really difficult for like it feels like this is the quote smartest boss of the entire roster so far, where it's like Thrall has the capability to like dodge your attacks a lot easier than other other bosses, and like it's not a like doppelganger boss, who like the doppelgangers are also kind of notorious for kind of being those models that are like able to like dodge your attacks and are very agile and all that stuff. But it's kind of just overall like Thrall has very consistent attack strings, and even with that, like it still does like have its size issue. It gets pushed around a lot. It'll fall out of some of your attacks with some agents. And then the summoning of Sobek is just like kind of the big kind of dividing point for most people. I personally like it. I think it's unique and interesting. And I over time like I've actually come to like the boss a fair bit with doing my benchmark on it. I do a thing every now and again, and I want to like do it a little more consistently, but I'll do a thing where I'm like a super horizontal player, so I just kind of play like a bunch of different teams into like all of the bosses of a certain cycle, just to kind of see like how I can structure my teams and how I can make things work. And in my benchmark for the Thrall, I've overall seen kind of most of the results I've expected, in that like I can get pretty good, pretty easy like 3 stars with all of the crit teams and some 2 stars with some of the weaker crit teams, but the anomaly teams are actually doing better than I thought they would. Like I'm getting close to 2 stars on a lot of them. Even though I've like made adjustments to kind of factor in more crits on the anomaly agents specifically, some of them anyway, but not all of them, which is fascinating because I'm not sure if that's RNG or if it's just the boss is more forgiving for anomaly than people give it the credit for. But like overall, I really like the boss kind of as a kind of thematic thing. As a, you know, it's probably the most creative boss so far, in my opinion. And I mean, it is the newest boss, so that's a little unfair to say or like compare against older bosses. But I really like its movesets. I really like its kind of distinction of Thrall and Sobek. I like the theming and the music and kind of the environment. I don't like when it glitches out and I can't do anything about it because it just is out of bounds and then I can't attack it even though I did nothing wrong. But that's the only real problem that I have with it, and I would believe that's not an intentional thing, so I'm not gonna like super fault the boss for that. I think that was more of just the developers kind of needed to put more focus into the upcoming big Void Hunter patch, and so this guy maybe feels a little rushed. But other than that, like, yeah, I'm generally positive about this boss.
I just wish he wasn't so RNG heavy. I wish he didn't just fly around for no reason, and I wish he wouldn't get stuck on the outside of the map. Feels very random whether or not, even with a good team, you can get him. And I don't know if I want to count that against the boss, because, like you said, there's still things they need to do. Like, they still need to properly fix that bug. But it's just really annoying when he flies around for 10 seconds shooting projectiles at you and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's cinematic, and for the story that was nice, but that's quite annoying, especially when, like, there's just points in the fight where you can't damage him, so, like, you're sitting there doing nothing. I will say, I think he has a better miasma phase than the Defiler or Fiend. I think his is more aligned with Priest in how it's more interactive. Like, I don't know how to elaborate my thoughts on that. I like, if it wasn't for all the jank, I think I'd like him a lot more. But because there's a lot of jank, I don't like him. You know?
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Thrall is honestly a good, well-crafted boss on paper, if it wouldn't be for his glitches and bugs he has. So he would be honestly in my top 3 favorites of bosses if it wouldn't be for him currently being a little bit janky all around. He's similar to Defiler. He has a very interesting scripted mechanic combined with RNG factors, which I personally like a lot. It is very cinematic in overall. I do agree he probably needs some tweaking here and there about what he does. Like, the entry maybe can be shortened from 10 seconds to maybe 5 to 7 seconds just. But this is just, if you like it or not. But other than that, you can play with various teams with him, even with Hugo. It works, apparently, if you get it right. And there has been plenty of people managing it, but it is annoying against Sobek that is really put on raw damage. Other than that, I think if they refine him a little bit in future updates, I think he is one of the best bosses we can probably have on the market. Like, he is, even though there are some mechanics behind him and he has his patterns, you get rewarded with really good extended stun windows where you have a lot of resources available when he is stunned. And yeah, his miasma phase is honestly, I think, one of the coolest ones, cinematic wise, because he goes into his phase and then you have to dodge and parry him a lot. And usually if you hit all the parries, yeah, you snack all his miasma and go immediately into stun. Overall, if they improve that part on, he's definitely, I would definitely put in on the favorite spot. For now, with his bugs, he's between okay and like, but more on the like side for me personally.
So without his bugs, you guys would say he'd be on the like, is my from the consensus.
Without his bugs, it would be my favorite, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I would like him more if he just. For me, he's probably more on okay, but I wouldn't criticize anyone for liking him, aside from the fact that he's buggy as hell right now.
So
yeah. So
until
like,
then, we're gonna put him on like. The survey says that the Thrall was okay for everybody. Mostly okay, but everybody was, or the other two sides were pretty equal as well, but okay is the more of the answer.
Yeah.
Hey, interesting.
I mean, there was a lot of drama about the Thrall, and I still hear people saying they don't like him. So I think the score, the survey is a decent representative about that. But for some reason, it has completely subsided. I don't hear anything on the internet anymore about him being bad, because probably some people found out how he works and they got to work with him. But yeah, I can't wait for the next boss, drama farming, honestly.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
The
absolutely.
Shangguang boss is gonna be the Shangguang boss of all time. It's gonna require Ether Veil in order to deal damage. It's gonna make Zhao so powerful. It's gonna destroy all of the balancing of the game. Everyone's gonna suffer.
Oh yes, let's go. Absolute cinema. I will, even though I don't really eat popcorn, I will probably grab me some for this absolute cinema moment.
It's the drama farm. I don't know. It's you gotta keep up the grind. Gotta keep up the content grind, guys.
Yeah, the clicks, they are so important to make, so drama is the best medicine.
We need
and
more
income.
collaborations for the podcast so that we can start getting names on people who don't collaborate and then create drama that way. That's clearly the most effective way to get numbers on YouTube.
Man.
I will be hopefully getting, or we will hopefully be getting more guests on the thing. But I just wanted to, after ALG and Ethan being on, I wanted to do at least a good month or two of us just in general. I think next month we will have more, in the new year we'll have a couple more guests on the podcast. Before we go, sorry, I keep on saying I mean we. Let's go over the overall like and hate for this boss. The Pompey was the most liked boss in the end, like I said before. So we actually
I was surprised.
all agree with that. Go ahead.
I was really surprised about the end result, honestly. About about this poll here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
it's very even, relatively speaking. Like, obviously, the responses are, 30 is not. It's a good sample size, but it's not the best sample size, So
Still 30% out of all the other bosses being the best, basically. And the fact that we agree with the survey is pretty nice. Typhon, like I said, was on the higher end, as in the questions say it was the most liked boss. But out of this right here, Typhon is at least up second compared to Pompey.
I think it really just goes to show that, like, even with like people's preferences, there's just like generally a good, like the generally speaking, the bosses are well designed, like, for the game mechanics and with everything in mind that they want to expand on or like kind of provide as a challenge, like going into deeper mechanics, kind of like what it is you can do with agent rotations and how you can use the different playstyles. I think there's just like there are some bosses that are for some playstyles, and then there are some bosses that are just good with all playstyles. And I think that's just like, it's just a generally healthy state of the game for kind of boss design specifically as a whole.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
And this one, for all the bosses everybody hates, the Butcher. Oh no, not the Butcher. The Defiler. Butcher is down here. The Defiler is the most hated out of all. The second most hated is Miasmic Fiend. So, I mean, that's the way that's the way we pretty much ranked it, is the fact that the Fiend is down there, and then the Defiler. If it wasn't for Thirsty, we would probably put it lower.
Hey,
it
come
is
on!
what it is.
I told you guys you can put her into hate, like, but it's fine.
she's walking a fine line for this call. We're taking Thirsty as very much a benefit of the doubt.
I just want to say she has two big arguments.
Okay, all right.
Maybe we should put her
Okay,
down
Mr.
into hate then.
Gooner.
Oh man, we can't live without the goon, right? We all play CCC, so
After this this podcast release, it will be 2.5 just a couple days after this, or after this boss's release, or this podcast release. So we want to wish everybody a happy 2.5 and see how it goes. But before we do that, we'll start with you, Thirsty. Where can we find you?
you can find me mainly on YouTube. We're under the name Random Blood Gaming. Thirsty Blood is basically my usual name on Discord. And I do make videos about the end game specifically. It is now a format I want to keep in the future. It is a report format talking about the end game and how it is accessible and balanced in ZZZ. I'm pretty critical on that part and fair and objective as possible. But I also do some other random funny videos about fights, score chasing, or some silly stuff like Crit Piper. And also you can find me on Discord on plenty of servers. I'm mostly lurking, but I do own the Battle Hub in which all my other cast members here are present and are also part of the mod team, while Sevadra is my second in command. And I have also a private server, and I also support in two other Discord servers as mod or admin. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sevadra, where can we find you?
I want to say I mostly stream on Twitch. I haven't been doing that lately. I want to do that more. I do stream on Twitch sometimes. I've been uploading more on YouTube these days, though. Like, that's for sure. Both under the same handle, just kind of same name, Sevadra, Sevadra. And I'm a moderator on a Battle Hub server, main restreamer for the Zenless Fights Twitch channel. And this is being recorded on a Saturday, so the Zenless Fights Twitch is going live. Probably not like when you see this, but we do things every Saturday with like mini tournaments. So if you want to check that out, or if that interests you, we all hang out in the Battle Hub server that Thirsty Blood mentioned. I'm the primary co-owner, and I otherwise just kind of appear in places sometimes. I was on a Muzzy's live stream for live reacting to the special program, like to the 2.5 special program, and that was fun. But yeah, I just kind of exist a little bit.
Chap, where can we find you?
You can find me in a lot of different places. I tend to show up in weird stuff, but if you want to find me in relation to Zenless, you can find us in the Battle Hub Discord, which I assume link is in the description.
He's a chap from Canada.
I am. If you see a Canadian, it's probably me.
And then you can find me on YouTube. I primarily do Deadly Assault boss battles with a twist. I've been doing streams every so often as well. And I'm also on the Battle Hub Discord server as a moderator as well. And you can probably ping me on any other the ZZZ Discords and probably find me as well.
That's good.
All right, so you guys take care and have a very merry 2.5/New Year celebration.
Happy holidays. Take
Happy
care.
holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays. See you around.